Well, hello everybody and welcome to Mog's Workshop. What we're going to be building today is a gauntlet. What kind of gauntlet? A cyber gauntlet. What's a cyber gauntlet? Let's find out. We're going to start with cardboard. Why cardboard? Well, you get a lot of cardboard free with everything you buy from your favorite tropical rainforest inspired online shopping retail solution. Everything comes packaged in cardboard, and it's just the best material. You can cut it, you can glue it, you can do all kinds of scoring and bending, and it's cheap as heck. And you can form all kinds of 3D shapes with it that you can then decide, does this look gauntlety? Yeah, every project needs some kind of focus. I'm going to go with this watch, a rather nifty looking bizarre thing that I found online. Same online retailer, and it is a sort of digital display with lots of kind of fun LEDs on it. And here we are going to make some 3D printed parts as well, because this project ultimately is not going to live in cardboard, it's going to live in plastic and paint and all kinds of nice things. Let us begin the process. So here we are pressing the button and the little squirty gun is squirting out the plastic goo in order to make the stuff that I have designed very simply. Oh dear, that doesn't look good. Never mind, we can clear that up later. A little bit hot perhaps on the goo there. You know that optimizing one's 3D printer is a bit of an art form, takes a little bit of practice, backwards and forwards, never quite get it right. But anyway, it doesn't matter because one little snip, 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 and a little scrapey, scrape, 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 and you have got your 3D prints all nice and smooth, ready for painting. I'm making this sound very quick because, of course, as you can see in this super fast mega version, it took ages to get all of this smooth. But I eventually did it. And then using the power of magnetism, I shall be attaching these parts to each other. Unfortunately, these magnets came with a rather nasty glue on them, which I had to use nail polish remover to eliminate. But now, here we are attaching the magnets to both halves of this rather nifty little back piece that's going to go on the gauntlet. Oh dear, and then more scraping and sanding and sanding and scraping, because these finger parts, well, there's an awful lot of them, and there's an awful lot of bibbles and bobbles that need to be gone. Otherwise the paint will not stick to it properly, and it'll just look awful, but never mind, we'll get through it. Actually, it's quite a zen experience sanding all of these down. Oh, well, if you listen to a podcast, time soon goes, and before you know it, you've got 3,000 bits. All smooth. A little bit of primer to seat things in place, and yep, it all fits together. That's a joy. The magnets didn't get pulled off. Extra strong glue there. Now what we're going to do is just test that everything fits and snaps and snaps and fits. Ooh, that's nice. Right, next it must be the time to add some lovely little bits and bobs. Not bad bits and bobs, lovely bits and bobs. Science fiction inspired features, perhaps a control, perhaps a heat vent. Something that the paint can cling to and looks super nice. Some edges, some details, something to catch the eye when we're looking at this from far away. It all needs to be painted, and we don't want too many super flat areas, because then any bad parts of the 3D print are going to stick out like a sore, throbbing thumb. Anyway, now time to prime. And for this we're using some double-sided sticky tape, and we're arranging all of these in nice military formation. The black spray here is Citadel Chaos Black. It stinks. It really smells bad. So using a well-ventilated area, put your mask on, then run away and let it dry all on its own. The glove here is just secured with a rivet, nothing particularly fascinating, but this is fun. We're going to rough this glove up, we're going to smash it against this wall, and we're going to scrape it because we do not want this glove to look like the cheap, shiny, naff looking glove that it actually is. We want to give it some texture, and my, we have achieved that. So on with the electronics. What's going to be in this? Spinning servos, whizzing blades? No, just a few LEDs on this occasion. Something simple, and something to make the glove look really quite special when it's all lit up. So here we go. We can now see me soldering with varying degrees of success. It's another art form, and one that I hope to master one day. Not quite there yet. Ooh, this isn't too bad though. Look at that. Oh, lovely. Oh, where it sinks into those little holes. Does it work? Yeah, it works. Joy. So, time to get this little puppy slapped into this container for it. Just the right size. Little nudge, little poke, little shimmy. She's home. And there we are, it works. My word. Doesn't it look incomplete? There we go. There's the little hat. That's going to sit on the back of the hand. But yeah, we need to get some paint on this fella. So what kind of paint? Well, on this occasion we're going to use the airbrush and some chameleonic color change paint. Oh yeah, very fancy. From one direction it kind of looks one color, from another direction it kind of looks another color. But my word, you need to add an awful lot of little tiny thin layers. And then it looks nice. Clean the airbrush. Good lad. Top parts now, same situation. Look at those layers. You can barely see that any paint's going on sometimes, but it is, mark my words. Just need a little bit of patience, and there it is, starting to look all kinds of shiny. Perhaps too shiny. Let's distress it. All kinds of washes here, in every hue. Kind of a reddy, pinky, purpley first, and let's slap it on and rub it in with an old sock. Yes, that is an old sock. How foul. But it does do the job very well. Now we're going to slap it all in, make sure it finds all of the little nooks and crannies, and not be too neat. In fact, we're going to be anti-neat. We're going to be pretty messy here because we want this to look like dirt. Like this Cyber Gauntlet has been used for many a year and has come to find itself covered in a wide variety of horrible goo. In this case, oh, I wonder what that purple was. Perhaps some kind of insectoid beast that burst nearby. Anyway, lets the imagination run wild. It also gives a lot of 3D dimensionality to it when you look at it from different angles. But this paint is still far too neat, far too neat for something that's supposed to look beaten up. So let's get the black paint and let's start blobbing in some areas of black where perhaps the paint might have been chipped. Upon this, we add some silver. Well, that looks kind of okay, but I think a little bit of a brighter silver on the inside to... Yes, that's starting to look just the ticket now. This is like a theatre prop, something that would look good up on stage and really translate all of those details to the back row. So in that vein, we're now going to add some highlights, pick out those edges. So as you can see here, I'm just running a little bit of silver paint along these sides, and they really start to pop. And there's a lot of sides, as you can imagine, so this took some time, but it's quite pleasing actually, quite relaxing. There we go, that looks a little bit better. Oh, I forgot all the finger parts need this too. And we even picked out the ridges on the side. That's starting to look rather nice, I think. What's next? Of course, muck. Mud and rust and grime and grit. Oh, it all builds up over the years. So using a little bit of sponge, we're just going to poke and prod, and we're going to get as much of this in as nice areas as we can find in order to, once again, add a little bit more of distressed detail. There we go. I think that really helps. And after all of this mucking about, now we're going to do something a little bit neater. A little bit of art coat on here, it's basically a shiny lacquer, and what we're going to use this for is to help us move these little transfers. These are something I had left over from another model, and I think they'll be just the job. Put them on there, squeeze the water out with a little tissue, and Bob's your uncle, you've got some nice little buttons. A little dab 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 of mucky black paint, and they'll seat right in. Finish this off with a matte lacquer. We didn't want these buttons to be shiny, we only needed the shininess to help the transfer. Now that's done, we can return it to a lovely matte state. Doesn't that look interesting? Weathered and beaten up and really quite fun. So how are we going to attach this to the back of the glove? Well, the answer is with horrible contact adhesive. Apply it to both sides, let it sit for a little while, and it is sticky as all heckins. The only trouble is it goes everywhere. It's stringy and it's rather grim. But once it gets a hold, it's not letting go. And there's a lot of parts on this glove that needs such attention. Of course, there's a number of ways to attach this. I could rivet it, I could sew it in, but here I found myself with an enormous tube of glue and I decided to give it a go. And you know what? It worked out reasonably well. Also, it doesn't smell that bad or anything, so I could do it indoors. It was quite relaxing. Yeah, top tip though, just remember that this glue oftentimes comes in a rather weird metal tin. And if you use it in the tin with the lid off, it'll set into a solid block of rubber. That'll be no good for anyone. So I always transfer the glue into little squeezy pots, the kind of squeezy pots that you use to put ketchup in on your chips. But don't use it for ketchup for your chips after you had glue in it. No. And here's the glove coming together looking rather spiffing, and we are now applying the watch, and the magnets hold it in place. Here comes the top piece, and the lights go on. Glowing away rather nicely there, I think. Snap, snap. Lovely. Our Cyber Gauntlet is complete. Not sure what I'm going to do with this now. Perhaps put it on and walk down to the shops and point at people. Make people think that I'm some kind of cyborg from the future who's come to steal their sandwiches. But in the meantime, I shall give you a ludicrous display of posing with my new, shiny Cyber Gauntlet.